Martin Houston, I hope you're doing well. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
Doing well, Ryan, and glad to be in with the game.
Did you realize
on a homecoming Friday?
Happy homecoming, man! Happy homecoming.
Thank you, sir.
Now, are you trying to get around town at all? I mean, are you in traffic?
Well, I'm not in traffic, but it took me a while to get out of the parking lot at Alabama One Credit Union. So the whole time I've been on hold with Marquise, I've been sitting in a parking lot. So I'm finally on the road, and I'm taking a back road. So trying to avoid this traffic.
No. That is your best course of action. I can promise you. How bad is this defense in Tuscaloosa?
Well, not as bad as we think, but still got some things we need to work on and clean up, Ryan. I spent all week trying to talk people off the ledge, but today, this morning, I also said, with that said, the unknown, man, really is how much of a drop-off is it between Trayvon Diggs and the next guy that's going to have to step up. And with that said, this defense could take one of two courses. It could go to a place where a guy steps up, they become more of a unit, because I do believe that last week's performance seemed to have awakened Mack Wilson. And I think the thing here, Ryan, and we've heard Coach Saban mention it, we've heard him talk about it, and we even heard him try to cry out and call out for it, and I still don't think it's happened. There is no alpha dog in this group. There's just no one in this group that everybody knows what's going on and can command and make everybody better. And that's one ingredient that no matter how good, how old, or how young, Nick Saban's defense has always had an alpha dog. And he tried to name one in Mack Wilson, and I just don't think that has been the case yet.
You think he has the potential to be one?
I think he does, Ryan. But to me, and this is not, to make light of or make an excuse for the way Jalen played, but I believe that quarterbacks need to see other quarterbacks. I think it helps them to see the game, to see the action, to see the speed, to see it in the how things are handled in a locker room. And I don't know that Mack, even though he's a third-year guy, I just think that he missed that last year because of the injury. Didn't get as much of that as he could have, and I think it's there. But I just hope he's not one of those guys, Ryan, that is not cerebral and just instinctive, But that's the way it appears to be at this time.
How do you think the
trade?
Go ahead.
Just a quick side.
Yeah, sure.
Quick sidebar. You remember what happened to Mississippi State, right? Last year, they tried to find someone to call plays. Keith Holcomb and Dylan Moses. But did you ever wonder why they didn't ask Rashawn Evans to be that guy?
No, I never.
No one ever. Well, the reason they didn't is because if you made him get, not that he wasn't a smart guy. This is not about being smart. So I hope no one thinks I'm calling Matt Wilson dumb. Some guys they're just so. You just have to let them go. It's like a caged animal. And Rashawn Evans, last year, from what I was told, was he couldn't do it. That's why they tried to get, Dylan Moses and Keith Holcomb to do it, because it totally took him out of his game. Well, this year they don't have any other choices.
Yeah, maybe it's when you look at Mack Wilson, when you've got to know all the responsibilities there. And that's a part, as you said, it's – plus, I still think, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Mack Wilson here for a minute, I still don't know if we're getting those calls in. I'm looking at the coordinator. It seems like that there's a lot of confusion pre-snap.
Well, now take that, Ryan, and magnify it. When Sean Deion Hamilton got the call, who was he relaying it to? An experienced front line and an experienced secondary. Okay? So if he got it in late, he still had guys that could look to the sideline and knew what they were doing even without him. That makes sense?
Sure.
And I think take new coordinator, new coaches, and all the inexperience. And I think you have a recipe that makes a defense not look like what we've become accustomed to. I don't think the defense is as bad as we, as Bama fans, feel. I just think the mark moved, and we haven't moved. We expect our offense to score 55, 60 points a year, a game now, but we hadn't raised that same expectation level for the other offenses that our defense plays. We still expect our defense in Tuscaloosa to still hold people to 9 to 12 points a game, and I don't know if that's realistic either.
What do you see happening tomorrow against Missouri?
I think Missouri's going to come out. Ryan, I think they're going to throw a lot of different looks. I think when you add and look at this defense, I think that on top of it being inexperienced and young is I think we're getting all types of stuff, right? You know when you get behind and you're desperate, well, our offense is causing these other offenses to go deep. And so we're seeing stuff for the first time sometimes on the field on Saturday, and then once again your youth shows up because you don't have to do it just. So I look for them to try to use a lot of rub routes like they did in terms of Arkansas. And another interesting thing, Ryan, is one of their tight ends actually plays a lot like a wide receiver. Okay? And normally you'd have a big Trayvon Diggs to come and cover that guy. But now you don't have that big defensive back to cover that tight end. So I expect them to try to get their tight end who lines up out in space like a wide receiver to try to create some mismatches with our smaller DBs because we just don't have the personnel to do that now with Trayvon being out. So look for Missouri to have, I think, a little success early, not anything that's going to threat or keep this game close in any way, but it won't be pretty for the Bama fans that want to see a shutout. But I think they will hold them to fewer points than they did last week.
All right, so the conversation also about this game is Dixieland Delight, okay? And I admitted to the audience up until about 3 years ago, I had no clue what they were saying because you've been on that field much more than I have. It's just a roar. You know what I mean? Like when you're on there, you can hear the atmosphere, you can hear the noise, but you're not able to make out the words, or at least most of it. I had no clue that it was the words that they were using, and maybe that's just me being naive. But I did not know them. I know them now. Do you think Alabama student section can keep it clean tomorrow?
Well, first of all, Ryan, I think it really ramped up. I don't think everybody was saying it. I don't think it was just the students by the end when it was finally taken away. I think it got to the point where it was the whole stadium, and then it became even clearer, and it got to the point where you could hear it on television. And I think that's what probably drove it out. But I've been trying to. I said maybe they'll at least make it the Auburn game, but hopefully it won't be a one and done. But I'm not. I wouldn't. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't put money on the Alabama student section being able to keep it clean. Maybe if it was an 11 o'clock kickoff and they didn't have enough time to get. You know what I'm saying?
Antifreeze, liquids, hydrate. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. If they weren't hydrated by the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, then maybe, just maybe, they would make it out. But I'm not a betting man, so I would say it's about 80-20 that they don't make it past one game.
I know we should do this next question like in the Cookie Monster voice, but I'll try to refrain myself. LSU, Georgia, something, I don't know, it's just a gut. I have not seen a lot from Georgia that reminds me of that quality championship team. I think they're almost there by default because we put them there and we want to keep them there and we try to prop them up. I've seen some cracks in the armor in Athens. Is there any way they get it all together and beat LSU? Can the Tigers do anything to the Dogs?
I actually said I felt like Georgia may win it. And the reason I say that, Ron, is where I've seen the weakness in this Georgia team is Missouri had a lot of success. They had 29 points on them and lost by 14 and gave up 2 non-offensive touchdowns. What I see in Georgia is they're saying that we are in the sense of having a young defense. They lost a lot of players to the league last year, and they haven't been exposed offensively, in my opinion. And I'm not sure Joe Burrows can do that, if that makes sense. He's the type guy that you know, literally the definition of a game manager. So I went with Georgia this morning, but would not be surprised if that young Georgia defense didn't get exposed by LSU. If Burrows has one of those, I call them the games quarterbacks have against Alabama, once in a lifetime type of game, then I think they can take Georgia down. I agree with you. This Georgia team is not last year's Georgia team, though.
Tennessee and Auburn. Don't say it. Just keep. I have not tipped you off. I have not said one word. Okay. Let's just talk about the football side of things.
That's a mess. Okay. You got one team that just has no talent, and their coach is doing all he can. And Jeremy Pruitt does have this defense plan a little bit better. I think he simplified it, dumbed it down, put a plan a little bit better. Because of that, this Auburn team, you just don't know what dissension is going to do, and you're starting to hear that players are pointing fingers. People don't like the quarterback. They have no running game. They have no offensive line. And I never figured out why everybody thought this team would be good and a contender in the SEC West, but a lot of people did. And what I see, Ryan, is a team that is on the verge of utter implosion in terms of Auburn Tigers. So if Tennessee has success early, they could do some damage. But because they have no offensive skill set, I think Auburn, comes out with the victory because they're going to be able to take advantage of the DBs. And all Auburn does is either throw it short or throw it long. They have no route tree when it comes to their routes, Ryan. But I think because of that, Stidham will be able to get some passes off and get some deep balls potentially against Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee won the game, but I think Auburn has enough and more talent, and the defense makes enough plays to keep Tennessee out the end zone for the most part, and Auburn comes away with the win.
Going to be a lot of fun inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Certainly tomorrow we talk about the big game, 28 points, 74 over under Alabama, Missouri. 28 points. Did I read some prediction from you on Tide1029.com? I mean, you had us one more time, I think in the 60s. Is that right, Martin Houston?
Ryan, and the only reason we hadn't reached the 60s when I predicted 60 is because we've missed field goals.
Oh, blame it on the kicker. Blame it on the kicker.
Well, it's actually the holder's fault. Tua's not perfect, and he's just not a good holder.
Yeah, and you got Greg believing. Greg calls in here, which is one of the callers from Martin's in the morning. A lot of callers call Martin. Greg is one of those that overlaps with both of us. He called in the other day and said the kicker doesn't want to kick Tua's fingers.
That's right, Ryan.
Did you really convince your listeners of that, Martin?
Hey, Ryan, I'm about to convince you and your listeners. Would you want to be the guy that broke Tua's fingers?
No, you're right. Yeah.
So whether you mentally do it or not, in the back of your mind, I would think that if I was coming up to kick Tua's hands, that would cross my mind every once in a while. So I'm having fun with it, but I really could see that being an issue. So, but no, Ron, I did. I had it 66, like 17 or something like that. And like I said, man, this team literally could score 80 points if they play. I mean, Ryan, you have to go man to man, and when you go man to man, if the quarterback, think about this, the quarterback is throwing it to where they're going, so you're trying to cover a guy who'd be tough to cover, period. But he has a quarterback that anticipates where he's going to be. You don't even know the ball is on his way. He catches it. The other DBs are tied up trying to stay up with their guy, and your guy catches the ball, and there's no one else around to make the tackle unless they misrun their route. And it's just, it's route design, is timing, is anticipation, is catching it on the move, and then it's just speed. And because of that, Alabama, 110th is Missouri in pass defense. Purdue's quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, had 572 yards, Ryan. I mean, Purdue.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So it's a beat down tomorrow. Sorry, Missouri.
It's another beat down, and hopefully defense plays at a extremely high level, holds them to about 7 to 10 points in the first half, and we can all feel good about our defense again.
Martin Houston, let me talk about the agency that you provide there at Alabama One.
Alabama One Agency Insurance Services, your one source for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, life, commercial. If you need it insured, we have a carrier that can get it done for you. Just give us a try. We also need you to look at the game plan of your finances and incorporate your insurance into it. We'd like to help you build that game plan, that winning game plan. So give us a call at 205-342-0112, 205-342-0112. And remember what we said, Alabama One, finance it here, insure it here. Alabama One Credit Union owns Alabama One Agency, your one source for all your financial needs and your insurance solutions.
Martin, I appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
All right, be safe.